Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1, and welcome to another episode of That Karate Podcast. My name's Liam Gallagher.
I'm Sean McLaren, and today we have Amy Connell. Hi, Amy. How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
No, good. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. So we're just going to get kind of kicked in. How are you doing? How you been? And kind of what you've been up to yourself?
Great. I'm doing well, thank you. Things are good. Just keeping busy, training away, and just kind of looking forward to the next big thing.
Fantastic. And for those that don't know Amy, Amy started karate at 3. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So not too long ago. Your first major competition representing Scotland was the Junior European Championships when you're 14, and you won. Is that correct? Yeah.
Bronze medal home. Yeah.
Bronze medal. Fantastic. And kind of what keeps you going now, and what keeps you driven and enjoying the process?
I think every athlete's different. For me, I think I've got a few things that probably do drive me forward. The first one, I love competing. Like probably a lot of athletes, I enjoy that, pushing yourself to get better, and then to see it kind of form in competition. I'm a big fan of that, and pushing yourself to your limits. And I want other people to know that what's possible. I think I'm a big fan of like younger girls and other people looking at me and going, you know what, if she can manage to do it, then we can do it too. And I think that definitely drives me every day.
Fantastic. I know myself and Liam were kind of talking about that. I know you want to touch on that, Liam, regarding Amy being a high level female athlete.
Team GB athlete. I mean, you're part of the first kind of spearhead of Team GB athletes for karate, and that's got to be exciting. And was it a bit scary too, or was it just? Do you feel a bit of pressure there?
I think it was just. It's such an honour to be in that and to be in that environment that I've always looked up to every other person above me who started to inspire me in karate, and I feel like it's just grown to another level now, which is so exciting to be part of that and to be, like you said, one of the first that's kind of leading the way. It's exciting because I want younger people to look at me and be like, oh, she can do that, and then they'll raise the bar and it gets bigger and bigger and we get much stronger as karate athletes going forward.
Now, you started with karate in the family, didn't you? I mean, obviously we know your family well, but for those who don't, you're quite a legacy going on there. Did you have a choice is the question. Did you have a choice about going to karate, or were you thrown in the car?
Do you know, I actually, probably one of the reasons, and I do say this quite a lot, the reason I probably love it so much is I wasn't forced to do it. Like, we're such a karate family. My dad teaches karate. My sister was part of the Scotland national team. So we were always around it all. But it was also, my dad was always like, if you don't want to do it and you want to do dancing or you want to do something else, it's your choice. And that's probably why I fell in love with it so much, because it was just like, I enjoyed it. I was good at it, and I just kind of followed that path with it. So yeah, it's great being part of a karate family because they understand everything that comes along with the going to competitions and training really hard, and they're so supportive with that, which is phenomenal.
Of course, fantastic.
Do you enjoy the training process, or are you one of those athletes that hates the training but loves the competition?
I think I've definitely changed. When I was younger, I used to hate the training and love the competitions. But as I've got older, I'm really grateful now that I just get to do what I love in every aspect. So I really enjoy the karate sessions at training. I really enjoy the gym work now. But I've definitely had to learn to love all that. When you're younger, you kind of just want to go out there, compete, kick people in the head and do that part. But no, I actually really do enjoy the kind of full package that comes along with being an athlete now.
Fantastic. And kind of just recently you were in Dubai. Yeah, how did that go, and how was that? Obviously during COVID and stuff, obviously there was nothing. So then now to kind of be such a high level competition in a country like Dubai, how did that go, and how was your experience over there?
Good. It was one of those ones. I didn't perform to the level that I wanted to, so it was a tough one to take at the time. Yeah. But I always believe that the way we perform and things that happen make us into better athletes, and we come back and we get to analyze our performance and work on that. So it was tough, and I'm really excited for next year with kind of things going back to normal, good training and everything like that kind of following through. I think that there's a lot of good things coming from just getting back into a good routine for everybody.
Exactly.
I mean, Sean and I had a kind of chat about the whole kind of Paris setup last year, and we felt that the kind of British athletes were, how would I put it? They were behind the curve because we kind of stuck to the rules.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, I'm saying this, so I'll get into trouble now. that maybe other countries were a little lax in their training or they're sticking to COVID. So I felt that you guys kind of were going in with one hand tied behind your back. You know, I felt kind of we felt rotten for you with that situation. Is that a fair thing to say or?
Yeah, I think looking at it, we definitely were. You know, we in the UK, our restrictions were pretty tight. In Scotland in particular, we were really kind of kept to everything we had to do was strict to have a partner. And it definitely made an impact when you look back at the results and kind of, I suppose for the full year, the results definitely, it reflected in the fact that we weren't able to have training partners, we weren't able to kind of travel to competitions and have those camps that maybe other countries did have. So I think that's absolutely a fair thing to say, and we made the best of the situation that we could and did everything we could.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, absolutely. I don't want to be negative about it either. We did what we were told was the right thing. So, but I just felt with you guys kind of trying to do Paris qualifications and trying to get through to Olympics itself, I just felt that Team GB was just really, especially karate, because it was so difficult to get to the Olympics in karate. That was ridiculous. I've never seen that in my puff. So how you managed to hold yourself together and battle through that with those restrictions was pretty inspirational, to be honest. But it must have been frustrating as well.
It was tough. I think looking back in the last 2 years, you know, it's been a really tough time for everybody, hasn't it? In every aspect of life and sport. And I think most people, we made the most of any situation that we could and just kind of took it from there. So, yeah, absolutely.
So during, I know my daughter Layla, she didn't enjoy the day-to-day online training, but she managed to train with some top competitors. No, we're training with Joe Kellaway and Jordan Thomas, Angelica Turligi, Junior Lefebvre. Did you manage to get some kind of good experiences in there during the lockdown training periods? We
did our own online training for our club. We took like fitness classes for them. My coach Martin Douglas, he would take some fighting classes for competitors, and then Stephanie Connell, she's kata, so she did some kata ones. So we made the most of that and definitely kept the kind of club together, and trying to keep that environment online was the best you can do, isn't it?
No, definitely.
Did you kick a wall like Sean did? Because Sean, I don't know if you've seen the video. Sean was teaching it. Was it? I can't remember. It was one of your TikTok challenges or something, Sean.
Just to kind of keep the guys going. I was doing like TikTok challenges, so it was like one challenge a week, and one you had to keep your leg up and kick as you're spinning round in a circle. And I managed to kick the wall, and my daughters were howling, and it was.
It's the funniest thing. It went viral. It actually went viral. It was hysterical.
Same people would like that more.
No, it wasn't. It was so.
You're not a great kicker, Sean. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
I'm good at getting kicked, though. I've mastered that over the years. I'm really good at that.
Yes, he is. I'm a lashy catcher. Right. So what's the next question, Sean?
No. I just kind of touch on Dubai as well. How was it? Obviously, you were over there competing, and you said your kind of results weren't as we expected. But how was it good to just kind of get out and traveling again? Did you enjoy that? Did you manage to get to see anything, or were you just kind of hotel, restaurant, and that was it?
It was actually quite, compared to what we've been used to in the UK, it was quite relaxed, actually, nice. I would say. Obviously, travel is always the same, kind of airports are quite strict with that, but actually being in the country, masks were worn, but apart from that, it wasn't too strict on things.
Nice. Must have been good to just get out of Scotland and see a bit more of the world again.
Nice to be in a warm country for a wee change in Scotland.
Sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. We never go to Dubai, Sean.
No.
We get the back end of Germany or something. It's like
it's normally really cold countries for competitions, isn't it? But for once.
Just kind of obviously touch a wee bit more on the kind of Team GB stuff. I know kind of Liam was kind of interested in this as well, and just kind of the pathway and kind of what the part of the process that you kind of got there to get to where you are and stuff. I'm just kind of interested to hear that, if possible.
Yeah, of course. So I became a member of Team GB in 2019. I qualified when I won my senior European bronze. Yeah. That was how the kind of pathway started. So as a lot of people might listen to this, they might already know, we used to be Team GB back for Worlds and Europeans back in like the 80s and stuff like that. Yeah. And that they had a really strong, incredible team back then. And now we compete for Scotland and England and Northern Ireland and Wales for Worlds and Europeans, but for games, we're still Team GB. So Olympic Games, Youth Olympics, European Games, the World Games, everything like that, we are Team GB, which is incredible. So it's nice to have that pathway for people to progress and to be part of the incredible setup that Team GB have as well. Is, you know, it's a professional sport. They've done it for every single other sport before, so it's nice to be able to see karate be part of that and to be taken into like the world that is professional sport. It's phenomenal to see.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I was down at the weekend. Obviously, I was just sitting in the corner behaving myself, but listening to it, it was.
Wait a minute, you behaved yourself?
I did. Honest.
Only because I wasn't there.
I'll be. You've been throwing things at each other. But it was listening to how it is professionalising and how I was quite inspired by it, insofar as I've always felt. Obviously, I'm older than the two of you put together, probably, but I've been frustrated at karate because it's such a fringe sport over the years. I've been kind of battling. I'm sure I know your family does. We do a lot of active schools work trying to educate the kind of kids what karate is actually about and what they can get out of it. But to actually hear it in that context was, I felt I had a wee cheesy grin on my face, because it was like, wow, we're actually starting to get taken seriously, and we're getting taken seriously at that level. And you guys are obviously kind of, as I said earlier, kind of leading the charge on that. So yeah, it's. I think the best is yet to come. Certainly judging what I heard at the weekend.
Yeah, I think it is a really exciting thing to hear. And I was the same when I was in that room, because it is exciting to see the future and to see kind of like pathways being formed that could potentially propel younger athletes into that earlier, and to make it a bit more professional is exciting.
Fantastic.
Right, next question, Sean.
We'll just firing through them here.
Yeah, I'm just putting. She's just knocking about the park. She's like, she's well rehearsed. She's
just the answer's ready.
Just let me know if I'm cutting them too short. Let me know.
No. We usually have to put a timer on, to be fair, when we do these things, because we just chat and we'll just chat all day otherwise. So especially me and Liam.
Sean and I are idiots. Like, we're just for absolute idiots.
In case you've not figured that out yet. Yeah. So obviously we kind of ask, we've had quite a few kind of competitors on before, kind of highlight your career so far, kind of competition career, or even just your kind of training career, just for the kind of younger. I know my daughter Layla looks up to you and she enjoys watching you compete and stuff as well, so just kind of what's your kind of highlight of your career so far?
For me, that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. It's nice to that's definitely a goal of mine. So
yeah.
I would say my highlight, probably for me, my two senior medals were a big part for me, because one was just after a really serious injury, which kind of propelled me into like, I can get back to the level that I want to be at. So that's quite close to my heart, that medal. And then my senior European bronze, because it just, again, senior medals are tough. So it's a big change from junior to senior, and I think when you've medalled at juniors, you're like, will I be able to make it at seniors? It's a different ball game. So for me, I think that really made me feel like I was the athlete that I wanted to be and able to kind of push from there. So they're big highlights for me.
Is that the
so
one?
You kind of touched on your injury there. Well, obviously we kind of read about it, but could you tell us a bit about what happened, if you don't mind, and how did you manage to come back from that?
Yeah, of course. It was, for me, I was training for the World Championships in Bremen. I think it was back in 2016, maybe, I'm not sure. My dates are terrible. But I ended up having bilateral stress fractures on both legs. So like multiple, I think there was about 10 fractures on each leg from just overtraining, which I wasn't really aware of. I thought it was shin splints, kept training on them. And I went there, competed, came 7th, so I had a good strong tournament. And it wasn't until I came back and got x-rays done that I found that out. Wow. And I was in a wheelchair for about 3 months. Wow. So a tough change for someone who, you felt like you were in a really good place in your athletic career. So for me, I think I was out for about 1.5 years with that injury, just rehabbing. A lot of doctors didn't think I'd be able to get back because of it was on a part of my body that I was always going to have to push and train. When you're jumping about doing karate, you can't avoid the jumping about part. So it was a really tough kind of 1.5 years for me. I worked a lot on like my mental side of my obviously like my kind of mentality, everything like that. I had to really make sure that was on point to keep pushing. And eventually 1.5 years later, that's when I started competing again and won my Paris. I got to the final in Paris. So it was a tough road, but it's definitely made me a stronger athlete now.
So many people would have kind of quit at that point. I would just have kind of walked away at that point and just went, well, this is stuff. This isn't for me, or as you said, the psychological side, maybe just not being mentally able to come back. Did you find? Is it just you? Are you just cussed, or did you really did you have to kind of battle it? Was it a struggle for you?
Yeah, it was. It definitely wasn't an easy road. And looking back now, I can look back and see all the positive stuff. But at the time, it was really tough. I remember lots of times thinking, like, will I do this? Like, is it really possible? And you doubt yourself and everything like that. Is it worth it? Is it not? But I remember actually thinking at one point, like, there's no harm in trying. Like, give it your all, see what happens. And if you aren't able to get back, then that's okay. But you'll never regret it trying. I think that's something I've just kind of took forward, and everything I do now, I look and I'm like, will I regret it if I don't do it, or will I regret it more if I do? And you look back and you go, I'm so glad I tried to do that. So for me, that was definitely the kind of thing that was going on in my head. But absolutely, I think anybody who's came back from a tough injury like that will see it was a struggle. It was mentally, physically, emotionally tiring, and hard. But a few years on now, I'm in a good place. So I'm very, very happy that I made that decision.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, good. So just kind of moving on, what's kind of next for you? Obviously you're looking to next year and looking forward to the schedule next year, and hopefully a full packed schedule in terms of competitions and run up and get a good wee bit of momentum. Anything kind of special planned for you next year, or anything you can share?
So the main thing next year would be Europeans, which is May for us, senior Europeans. Okay. So my plans to train well to peak for that competition. We don't have a Worlds next year, so it's a big change from running about to competition, which we did for Olympic qualifiers. So now it's quite enjoyable that we'll have time to really solidly train for months and then be able to peak hopefully for good competitions, which is my aim, to kind of pick a few competitions to get some extra mat time in, and then to peak for the big ones.
Fantastic. And you kind of just looking to see competitions back in general next year and back to normality, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully some in Scotland and Britain again for like younger athletes to come through again, which I think is a big part too, because we travel and we go to all the ones abroad, but it's always nice to have domestic ones for younger people that are kind of pushing through and wanting to get in competitions.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the next generation's really taken a hit, hasn't it, in the last kind of 18 months, 2 years? There's a whole load of, I've got a few kids in my dojo that are kind of, could be that level or are that level, and they've had it tough. When you train so hard for competition and then it's gone, it was very difficult to try and keep them as a coach motivated and on the path, because it's so difficult for them, because they want to be like you. They want to get to the level you've got. But hopefully next year kind of picks up, doesn't it?
Hopefully, absolutely, and that's all we can do is kind of hope for that. But I really feel for people, because it has been a really tough kind of time, and especially if you're in that point, like you were saying, where you were starting to want to compete, but then there was no competitions for almost 2 full years. Like, how do you keep up that motivation to train without having a goal in mind? Because like most athletes or most people that want to compete, it's all about that goal that you set yourself. And obviously as coaches, these are doing phenomenal to manage to keep people there and keep them excited about the future of karate when it does get back to normal. It's phenomenal. So I put my hands up to people like you who are able to keep people in the sport. And
I just lock them in the dojo. There's no real skill point here. I just tear them in and lock the door, make them train. So what's your legacy?
One thing I am glad of kind of lack of competitions, my IQ has not went down since lack of competition, so we're all right.
That's just because you're usually taking kicks to the head, mate. So
you've just been doing blocks, haven't you, for 2 years?
He blocks with his face. He really does.
You don't look like this. You don't look like this using your hands.
So you've got, as I was going to talk about legacy there. That's maybe a heavy word for this time of day, but you're building quite a legacy in regarding to, obviously you're an elite level athlete. You're part of Team GB. Do you have any view what happens after your competition career, or you're not looking at that just now, or are you making plans how you're going to impact the next generation? Or
yeah, I mean, that's a big thank you so much. I mean, it's an honor to hear that side of thing, because I mean, I feel like I've still got so much to give in terms of like, yes. I feel like I can do so much more, which is exciting. So For me, definitely no. I'm looking ahead. For when I do retire, I want to be part of that setup. I want to, inspire people. I want to coach. It would be an honour to be able to coach the next generation and to use what I've, one of my coach, Martin Douglas. He's the epitome for me. He's gave me everything that I've became as an athlete. So for me to be able to give that back to other people would be phenomenal. So I'd like to be part of that coaching setup. If I was good enough as a coach to be able to do that, and also in any other way that I can, just because we look to help people in sport, but it impacts everyone's life. Like you guys are karate people. Like, although we do karate as a sport, like it impacts like your home life, your family life, your friendships. Like it's a big part. So
yes, it does. I don't think my wife realised how much commitment it requires when she said yes. She's like, "Oh, we've got something this weekend again." Yes, and the next, and check the calendar. You'll be happy.
She was loving that year. We had no competitions.
I was alright at first, and then when she was stuck in the house with, she's like, "Get back out."
Yeah, I was sick of going away every weekend, and then you start to miss it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, well, that's. I mean, it's, as I say, you're infectiously positive. Yeah. I mean, even though, again, obviously I've seen your competitions and stuff. You've kind of said hi in the passing, but even down at TGB at the weekend, you could feel, and with the other athletes as well, just a positive bunch.
Yeah,
they're all kind of nobody. I felt nobody. I don't know if somebody yourself in this is arrogant or aloof, or they're just grateful to be there and doing what they do, and it's nice to see. And there's no politics, there's no nothing. It's just what goes on in the mats, and that was I really enjoyed, and I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. No, karate is. I feel like we've got a great group of people, pushing forward the next generation, which is exciting. People that aren't in it for egos or anything like that. They just love the sport and just.
Yeah, that's what I kind of took from it. I think some people who think of kind of elite level athletes, they think they have an elite attitude, but you don't. You all seem really kind of level and kind of chill, and we're taking the absolute mick at each other, which we found hysterical. But it was
part of it comes with it.
Yeah, it comes with the territory, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, anything to add, Sean?
Sorry?
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, as I said, I was just very keen to get you on and kind of hear your story. Obviously, kind of coming back from injury as well, as you said, was great. And just being at that top level. And for any kind of, just as I said, Layla enjoyed this, for any kind of aspiring athletes, any kind of tips that you can give them, anybody would like to get to the level you were at. And obviously it's not just been handed to you. Obviously there's a process and there's a plan and a pathway there. Any kind of tips for anyone, like Liam, who wants to kind of start competing?
You had a laugh?
I'm joking.
Did you have to laugh so hard there, Amy? Did you mind? That was a bit mean.
too much. Yeah, for anybody who is like younger coming through, the biggest thing is just to like genuinely have fun. It sounds super cheesy, but isn't it? Like if you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's tough to get in and out of it, to work hard at something that you're not passionate about. So I think it's just finding that environment that you really enjoy, pushing yourself in and working hard. Like again, it's simple things, but it's like when I look back and to get to the level that to compete for Scotland, to compete for GB or anything, like if any athlete that you ask, they'll say I worked really hard and I have such a passion for what I do. At the end of the day, they're the two things that make everything work, whether it's sport, life, business. Like people who have got a big fire and big passion for what they do and they work really hard at it, they're going to achieve good things. And for anyone coming through, I'd say the same for any younger athlete that's looking to aspire to do that.
Fantastic. Yeah.
No, it shines out you. So I think you're going to inspire a lot of continue to inspire a lot of athletes, boys and girls, over the next few while, and we wish you every success. We'll be cheering you on.
Thank you so much.
Every call, people like, hey, we waving at you.
Actually, be like, oh no, it's day 2 again.
just blank them. Just who are they? Nobody. Just a couple of guys I spoke to once. But yeah, that's great. Right. Shall we end it off there, guys, and let Amy go on with the day? Yeah, well, thank you so much, Amy, for giving us some time today, and It really genuinely is. Sean and I said this, it's quite an inspiring story. I know you won't see it like that because you're not that type of person, but it's a very inspiring story. To come back from that kind of injury to then to do what you've done is just fantastic. It's amazing, and not many would have. So please keep it going. Keep flying the flag.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So it's amazing what you guys are doing. Like, I think this is great to get other karate people's stories out there, and because there's not a lot of that out there. So it's amazing to hear different people in the sport. And I know you've got coaches, you've got different people that are athletes on here. So yeah, you keep inspiring, because it's great for the sport to see this.
Well, I don't know if we're inspiring. The people we get on are.
Folks, just to let you know, we never paid Amy to say that, by the way.
No, we didn't. We didn't. All right, folks, we'll call it there. Thank you so much to Amy for taking time today. A big thank you to Sean, as always, for firing the questions thick and fast. And we'll look forward to watching Amy's career continue and blossom over the next few years. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, folks, as always, if you get a chance, could you like and subscribe to That Karate Podcast? Share it with your friends. If you like it or don't like it, share it anyway. Give us a wee shout out. Okay, thanks all for your time, and speak to you later. Ending in 3, 2, and 1.